Hey guys, welcome to a StarCraft 2 replay. My name is Pansader Leader. I'm going to be your caster for this replay. This is actually my first cast here, and let's introduce the players. Right here we have the red Protoss up in the upper right corner named Gregory. Down here we have our Terran player, Barbiche. I believe that's how it's pronounced. I hope I didn't butcher that. This is a bronze level game on the, I believe it was on the European ladder. We do have them just starting their pro production, their SCV production. We do have a pylon coming out here into the natural expansion area. Possibly some sort of forge fast expand. We do have supply depot coming down, do the wall off. Basically going to try to prevent any scouting. Now normally what I would try to do against a forge fast expand, as a Terran player I would try to do a 2-racks opening and with double tech labs, basically so that I can start stim once the first tech lab finishes. Yep, there it goes, the forge right there. Once the first tech lab finishes, I can start stim, and at the same time start the second tech lab. That way, when that tech lab finishes, I can start something like combat shield or concussive shells and have it finish at the same time as stim, all while producing my Marines and Marauders. Do have a gateway coming down here for the Protoss player. Let's check the probe count right now. 13 to 13, pretty much even. We do have one assimilator going down for the Protoss player. We do have also a refinery that has gone down for our Terran player. One barracks has already finished, another supply depot going up, going to complete that wall off. He did scout that there was all these shenanigans going on. Forge fast expand with a gateway and a photon cannon before the Nexus. Not sure what he... But then again, I am not a Protoss player, so I don't know the particularities of the Protoss build orders. So I could be completely off here, and he's going to get a cybernetics core down there. I would like to see him throw down a Nexus sometime, but guess he's not going to do that. We do have 2 more barracks on the way. We do have a tech lab on this barracks here, but we don't have any upgrades just yet. Be interesting to see what our Terran player does with those. And we do have concussive shells going down now. Concussive shells, but no Marauders being produced. Not even enough minerals. Well, now there's enough minerals to get a Marauder going, but really, let's check the worker count again. 15 to 19 in favor of Gregory. Really needs to get those SCVs up and running for the Terran player here. And what is this? We do have a forward pylon going down near one of the third bases, areas for the third base for the Terran player. Not sure what our Protoss player is really up to here. One stalker did come out for the Protoss player. He is researching warp gate, but he only has one gateway. And he is finally throwing down that Nexus. Normally you see that Nexus just a little bit earlier. It's at 25 supply. It's still within a good timing, but normally if you throw down a forge first, you see the Nexus a little bit earlier. We do have Stimpak on the way for the Terran player. We do have a Marauder, one Marauder being produced. Looks like 2 have already come out, along with 3 Marines. Another supply depot going down over here. Still no engineering bay. No factory. Looks like he's just gonna go 3 racks. And we do have 3 more gateways. Coming down for the Protoss player. We have Reapers coming out for the Terran player. It's a little bit late for Reapers. Usually as a Terran player, if you go with Reapers, you're going with Reapers first to do some harass. We'll see what he does with these Reapers here. Still hasn't scouted out that pylon yet. Let's check the vision. Just barely outside of his vision. Right there. Really well-placed pylon by our Protoss player, Gregory. More Marines coming out. The Reaper coming to join his little buddies here. Actually, there's Reapers going out ahead of the pack. Let's follow these guys. Let's see where they're going. Looks like he's trying to scout out. Maybe scout out any weird expansions. Not necessarily the best map for Reapers because there is this air gap here between this expansion and the main. And you kind of have to go down and go up here, and usually there's some sort of force over here to prevent anything like this. But he is going to go up into the main, probably going to do a good deal of economic damage. Let's see what there is to defend against this. There's only, well, there's quite a few stalkers actually. But he is going to do some economic damage. But those Reapers are going to get cleaned up. Let's check the units lost tab. 8 units lost for Gregory with 400 resources, and 2 units lost for Barbiche, 200 resources. Not sure that was such a great trade for him. Did take out a few probes. That will cost in some minerals, but it looks like there's a clash going on down here between Stalkers and the Marauders Marines. Stalkers being pushed up the ramp. Going to be taken out by this force here very nicely. I would like to see him push up just a little bit more, maybe take out Cybernetics core or the gateway. That sentry's going to not go down. Really needs to be careful here. Good force fields. And there are some reinforcements coming in for the Terran player. He's already taken out the photon cannon. He's going to take out that pylon and maybe try and focus it down. I'd like to see him try and get rid of this sentry here. If that sentry gets up enough energy, it could pretty much force field the whole thing. He has to be pushed back down the ramp. Stalkers are getting a nice concave here. And this force is going to get cleaned up. So the Protoss player does hold, but his upgrade here has been halted for the time being. It looks like he is going to push out. Not sure if I Well, there isn't much for the left for the Terran player to defend with at this moment, but he is producing from his 3 barracks. He does have a factory down. It is building a tech lab. Perhaps if the Protoss player here stops long enough, we can get the tech lab up and get some siege tanks out. That would help in defense. And there is a siege tank on the way for the Terran player. Two more sentries being warped in. These guys just chilling out at the Zelnaga tower, keeping an eye on things. We do have 2 more photon cannons going down at the wall end. One is already up, so that would make 3 in total. Looks like these stalkers and zealots are going to push up the ramp into the Terran player's main. He does have a bunker in there. He needs to get in that bunker. There we go. One more otter in the bunker. Needs to get an SCV repair on something here. That bunker does go down. Looks like this supply depot is about to go down as well. Does he have enough units to hold on to this? He stims. These stalkers are getting pushed back a little bit. We do have a warp in over here at this pylon. Did he see that? I think he may have. I think he knows something's up in that corner over there. Do have the Protoss player trying to regroup just outside of the Terran main. Terran player is rebuilding this wall off here, along with a command center. Really needs to get this going over here. Our Protoss player really needs to work on getting those probes out, chrono boosting those probes. There you go. Don't let that next synergy get full. Same with this. You can still produce probes from this one and just have them rallied down here. Do have more forces coming in for the Protoss player. Just gonna chill out in the natural here. One siege tank is in siege mode for the Terran player. Needs to get this one over here. And our Terran player has become a little bit supply blocked here. And his response? Build 6 supply depots. I do like that he's using the mules though. Maybe could have dropped a supply onto the supply depot there. I know a lot of players, you know, they say a lot of things against doing that, but it does help in a pinch. I wouldn't rely on it too much, but it does help in a pinch. 3 more Marines coming out for the Terran player. Don't really see any more upgrades coming out for the Protoss player. He only got 1. Really needs to get that Twilight Council if he wants to get higher upgrades. And really needs to get this probe count up. He's on 2 bases with 26 probes. He really should have more than that. And this stalker's just kind of... There we go. Let's move him down there. See if he sees this. He doesn't necessarily see the pylon. He does see the force coming in. Will he have enough to defend? I think he will. We do have our Terran player expanding down to this third over here. Well, technically it's his second right now, but normally. Well, I guess he's not going to expand over there. That is, very odd. But hey, this is Bronze League. Bronze players do bronze things. There we go. There's the probes. And he is getting that upgrade out now. Ground 1 armor. Level 1. Ground level 1 armor. Excuse me. I can talk. I can talk. So, the Terran player is expanding in the bottom right corner of the map. A very weird place to expand, really, to take a second base. Because, well, it's pretty well exposed. I mean, yeah, there's distance, but I mean, really, right now it seems closer to the Protoss player than it does to the Terran player, and you really need to have it closer to your main so that you can more easily defend it and get that economy going. Although, if the Protoss player doesn't scout this, doesn't know about it, then, I mean, yeah, you can get the economy up and running that way, but it's very, very risky to do. We do have a move out with our Terran player. Why he doesn't have the medevacs up yet, I don't understand. He really needs those medevacs to help heal his units. And did he just let these units just sit here? He took out the pylon, but these units are just gonna sit here. And now they're gonna go up. Get one free SCV kill. Or not! Oh no, I think that SCV did go down. There's a stim forward, but his units, some of his units are dangerously low on health. He needs those medevacs up. He does have a starport, but he doesn't have the reactor. He could switch it with this barracks over here and get those medevacs, get double medevacs going, and build another reactor with this barracks. Or he could just start pumping out single medevacs. Either way, he really needs to get those medevacs up for his units so he can heal those units. We do see him expanding down to his natural now, along with getting some SCVs in this base over here. So now technically this base is his second and his natural is his third. It's very strange. Do have a good amount of stalkers and zealots here. We don't really see too much of the higher tech from our Protoss player. We do see a warp prism. That could help with some drop harassment. I don't see any turrets or anything like that to defend against this. Some DTs would absolutely wreck this. Do you see the warp prism out over here? What kind of vision does he have? He doesn't have any vision of this base over here.
Mineral field depleted.
Finally, we do have a pretty good saturation on this base. Each simulator does have 3 probes. You have some pylons coming out over here just to keep that supply up. As you can see, a lot more gateways were added on. I do apologize for missing it. And it looks like he did scout this base over here. These zealots are going to come out, try to take out these probes, but the liftoff of the command center is going to prevent the zealots from attacking the command center itself. These probes are, excuse me, these SCVs are running for their lives from the zealots. Zealots are going to back off just for now. Good enough that the mining time was stopped. Or the mining was stopped. We do have this warp prism coming in. Gonna do some drop harassment over here. Just gonna drop these two zealots. Warp in some more. And let's see how he reacts to this. He does have a fairly sizable army. He did finally get medevacs out. He put a tech lab on the starport, interestingly enough. We do have one hero zealot trying to take out the armory over here. These zealots are still just chilling out. This warp prism gonna check out this base over here, see if it's mining or not. It's still up in the air. Do have 3 siege tanks on the low ground here. So that drop did get cleaned up. Banshee has come out for the Terran player. Would like to see, if you're going to use a Banshee, maybe get Cloak or something. But if most of what you're going to produce from a starport is going to be medevacs and Vikings, you really want a reactor on here. Do you see that pylon getting cleaned up by the Terran player moving out with those 3 tanks? And with that, Gregory does become supply blocked. Supply right now is 112 to 108. These zealots still just chilling out over here. Stalkers did finally force this command center into the corner of the map. Do have this warp prism just chilling out between the bases. And these stalkers over here still just sitting there. Looks like if the Terran player moves up over here, they may be out of position. Just slightly. Gregory is supply blocked. He does need to get some pylons down in order to warp in reinforcements when this bio ball comes. Oh, I don't like these tanks sieging up over here. They really need to be down here. They really need to be over here to support the bio ball. I'd like to see him take down these destructible rocks, get a better concave going at the ramp. There we go. He needs to move these tanks forward. They're going to be out of range. The zealots are going to come in, try to do some damage. But they're not going to be able to do much. Really needs these tanks over here. And oh my god. That is a ton of stalkers. And he's out of range of the tanks. He's out of range of the tanks. If the tanks could have just moved up, they would have helped immensely. He needs to move those tanks. This force is going to get completely cleaned up by the Protoss player. Terran just moved ahead without tank support. We do see the Vikings coming into the main, trying to take out some of those gateways. Vikings aren't particularly effective on the ground. He will take out a pylon, but that won't do much. We do see that even the tanks, it appears, have been cleaned up by the Protoss player. These stalkers are going to try to take out these Vikings, and it is just not looking so good for the Terran player. Let's check the units lost tab. We do have 86 units lost for Gregory, 98 for Barbiche. As far as resources go, Barbiche has actually lost less. Gregory has lost more in resources, but I don't particularly like this position for the Terran player. Although these pylons have been taken out and the gateways have been stopped. They have been unpowered. So that was actually a fairly effective play by Barbiche, just preventing those units from getting out that much faster. But we do have a sizable stalker force coming out for the Protoss player, going to check that Zelnaga tower. I don't know if I like this. Do have reinforcements coming in. 0-0 on the upgrades for a Terran player. Where is the... There's the engineering bay. Where are the upgrades? There are no upgrades. Why are there no upgrades? You have built a building and not used it. Why have you not used it? If you're Terran, you desperately need those upgrades, because if those Marines don't have those upgrades, they will melt like butter. Those medevacs are helping to keep those Marines alive. Do have a warp in down here of some zealots, but of some charge lots, but they are going to get cleaned up by this bioforce here. Very small bioforce, but they will do a fair amount of damage. Actually, they don't get cleaned up, surprisingly. What was that? Zealot finally does get picked off. This Stalker... Oh my god, there's more Zealots coming in. So, the Protoss player actually just barely came out on top there. More Marines coming down the ramp. More reinforcements for the Terran player. I don't know. It looks like they might get cleaned up as well. We do have an expansion going down over here for the Protoss player. Very nice play, putting on some pressure while expanding. Very nice. More Zealots have been warped in over here. Really needs to get those minerals up so he can do more warp-ins. Do have more Marines coming down the ramp. Looks like this may finally get cleaned up, or not. Really needs to go down and take out the warp prism, because that's the thing that's really causing the trouble here. Really need to take out that warp prism. And these Marines just gonna walk right by these Zealots. There's no micro from either player, really. A good bit of micro, a good bit of stutter step will really gone a long way. Now he may finally be able to take out this warp prism. He really needs to get rid of this warp prism down here. And it may just get away. That was not so good for the Terran player. Do have another base coming up here for the Terran player. I would like to see him actually use this command center instead of, you know, just building another one and not using this, because that would actually be kind of a waste of minerals if you don't use it. Remember, minerals are everything, because that's pretty much what feeds your economy, feeds your army. So any unused building is pretty much a waste of minerals. Do have a small force coming out here for the Terran player, for Barbiche. More Marines coming out. Really would like to see, you know, probe transfer, SCV transfer. Looks like this may just be oversaturated. So a transfer down here would be really good. We do have War Prism coming up. Let's see what he does with this. Doesn't look like he's going to do... Oh, there we go. There's 4 Zealots coming in. Do have... Oh, a small Bioforce over here. Where are the medevacs? We do have some harassment coming in over here. Really needs to do a good bit of micro here. Micro away from the Zealots. The Marines are going to get cleaned up. This expansion is going to get denied here. Very nice play by Gregory, denying this expansion. We do have Terran player moving up, trying to take down this wall. But there is no medevac support, no tank support. Good little force field there. Would like to see it go down over here. But it does prevent Terran player from taking down that gateway. And this little group is going to get cleaned up. Do have 2 more hero Marines going to fight to the death. Or just not fight to the death. They'll just die. And this medevac is going to get taken out too. What a waste of resources. Really need to pay attention to where your units are going. This medevac almost got taken out. And I don't see much of anything for the Terran player. We do have a few more Marines coming out. I would have liked to have seen... He did get a few more barracks. He does have 1 Raven, but that's not going to do much against this force from Gregory here. Neither is this Banshee. Really needs to be cloaked. Could have done so much more with that Banshee. We do have this base finally getting up again for the Terran player. This one is going to just fly away. We don't have, surprisingly, we don't have either a planetary or an orbital command in the natural expansion here. Usually you want to get that up right away, and we have full energy on the orbital command in the main. It would really be a boost to his economy if he could just drop some mules over here. That command center did eventually get taken out. Tried to fly away, couldn't do it. We have a very small force here. Looks like it's going to get taken out. We have a bunker going down, but that's not going to go down in time. And this looks like this might be the end of the game, folks. This just might be the end of the game. And there's the GG from Barbiche. GG from Gregory. Barbiche leaves the game. And that is it, folks. I hope you enjoyed watching this cast by me, Pansator Leader. If you have any comments, questions, anything like that, just drop me a comment. By the way, this was a game that was posted to the Reddit or subreddit Cast It. That's reddit.com/r/castit. So if you have any SC2 replays, just go ahead and post them there, and you might see them get casted.